Hey everyone, I'm going to ask for questions from y'all in just a second as I wait for everyone to get logged in. So if you have something you want to ask, put it in the chat. I'm going to open up a couple of things so I have them at my ready. I'm going to open up the activity that's due for next time, and also the case there are questions to be asked on either of those. There we go. Okay. Fire away, whatever questions any of you have. I will offer, as I always have, a chance to improve your grade a little bit on the final. So what I typically do is, let's say you score 80% on final. And let's say you had a 70% average. So that's what, 10 points. There are 4 exams. So what I do is I take the difference here, multiply by 2, and add it on. So in this case, it'd be 20 more points. Typically, I have maybe a third or so of my students who score a little better on the final, or sometimes significantly better on the final than they did on their 4 exam average. Maybe they had one bad test in there and brought their average down. There's not going to be any subtraction of points if you score significantly worse. But if you score better on the final, there'll be a few bonus points added on at the very end. So I guess the only thing we have left, well, wait a minute, we don't have a quiz because there's nothing to quiz over. This is our last official class will be Tuesday. So I guess, yeah, there's still that activity to turn in. So the activity will come in. I guess it's not officially due till Thursday, but I'd say try to get it in. I guess probably not officially due till the final exam, but try to get that in sometime tomorrow after class, put the last finishing touches on it. We'll have some review sessions this week, and I'm going to sort of put those at my when's handy for me, and then hopefully, if you're not able to attend live, you'll be able to view them on YouTube. I'll do my best to make sure I bookmark when each problem is highlighted. In fact, what I'll probably do is on Wednesday, I'll probably just cover the first half of the review packet. On Thursday, I'll cover the second half. And then on Yeah, I guess that'll work. I'll have a short review probably Friday for those of you who take the afternoon exam. But I should be able to get every single question answered in those 2 times. In fact, I'm toying with maybe actually just going through problem by problem on Tuesday and Wednesday. That way they're all nice and in order. Anyway, let's have a Tuesday review at 1 o'clock. I'm sorry, Tuesday with class. Let's have a Wednesday review at 1 p.m. We'll do the same thing Thursday at 1 p.m. One group of my students is taking the exam 7:45 until 10. The other group doesn't start till 12:15, I believe. So maybe at 10:15 on Friday for those of you who think that's my early class, 2:15 class. Let's try Friday at maybe 10:15 or so. So all that will be reviewed for the final. All right, any chat questions that you have for me today? Questions about the last exam, questions about the upcoming final, or questions about the activity or the homework that we looked at last day and a half? By the way, the median scores were quite good on exam 4. My 215 class outshone my 345 class. I think that's the first time all semester. Usually the late afternoon class had done a little better, but not on this one. I think on exam 4, the medians were, I think it was 88% for the early class, and it was 81% for the late afternoon class. So this is my 215s. Those are my 345s. All in all, it was pretty well done. I didn't see a lot of problems with the units on the word problems. I think you did that pretty well. The nice advantage that you folks had is you didn't have to worry about integration by substitution. Is the final all multiple choice? Yes, it is. And I have to talk with the coordinator. She has a final exam that we've been rolling out pretty much the last 6 years or so, make some modifications to it. But she said she'd be in charge of modifying it this time. And I think since we didn't cover integration by substitution, it'll be a little shorter. It used to be 50 questions multiple choice. My guess is it's probably going to be 45. And yes, it was multiple choice. Last time I talked to her about this, which was 4 or 5 weeks ago, I'll get in touch with her a little later today just to make sure. And in the past, this was always a Scantron test. I don't know if she's getting it ready to go on Blackboard, or if it's going to be something, I'm hoping Blackboard, or it could be something through MyLab Math as well. So there's my 2 best guesses, John. 40 to 45 questions, multiple choice. And typically we'd get all the Scantrons together for all the sections, and we'd run them all at once. I'm guessing the Scantrons won't be in place, so you should know how you scored on that final exam. If it's multiple choice, wow, you should know as soon as you close your program, I guess, huh? Hit the OK button on Blackboard. So all in all, a really good exam 4. I think you'll be in decent enough shape for the final. The review packet is out on Blackboard, I pared it back quite a bit from previous years because there were a couple topics we didn't cover. I've heard complaints about it in the past that it was a long review packet. Well, there's a lot in this course to cover. It's significantly shorter this semester. I think when I time myself going through it in the review session situations, just going through it at a leisurely pace, problem after problem, covering everything, took maybe, I don't know, 3 hours to do the whole thing. So the issue for you folks is you haven't seen much about limits for a while, so that's going to take a little while to recover. I think you'll find the first several pages you're going to be going fairly slowly on, and then probably about the time we round the corner, hit the derivatives, hit the marginal analysis. We've been working the marginal analysis all the way through. That's going to start becoming a little more familiar. And of course, anything you've done with definite integrals or integration, that should be really fresh since we just tested over it less than a week ago. Again, that's another good reason for me to start Wednesday with the front of the review packet, just to make sure everyone understands. And if you do understand that, then the chance of you doing well in the final is really good. I've had several students in the past couple of years score 98, 100%, but they're the ones that absolutely knew every question, going right down through the list. The ones that appear on the final aren't, the really difficult ones. They're the ones that test to make sure you have a basic understanding of each of the concepts. If there was one question on the last exam, I should probably highlight that while I give you something to talk about. There's one question on the last exam that I thought marginal cost, so I'm going to cover that real quick and explain what you did right and then what almost all of you did wrong. Oops, wrong spot. Back here. First ones were really good. The definite integrals you were fine on. Most of you were able to run the equation editor. Here it is, the marginal cost function. So I gave a marginal cost, C prime of x, 1260 e to the negative 0.15x. That was the marginal cost function. Find the fixed cost is. Okay, the fixed cost means that we're producing $0 per barrel of oil. So this is $4,000. So what I asked you to do here was to find the actual cost function. So to find the cost function, we're given the derivative, we need the antiderivative. Here's my cost function. Okay, I'm going to take the antiderivative of this one. 1260, 1 over 0.15, I guess that's negative, e to the negative 0.15x plus c. And I believe if you do this division correctly, this came out to be exactly, was it 88,000? No, I have a calculator here. I'm going to run through that so I don't mess this up. $84,000, okay. 8,400 e to the negatives. That decimal place is off a little bit. So it might have been 0.0. Yeah, it was. Okay. it's 84,000. Instead of putting a C here, I'm going to change that to a plus K because we already have a C function. Okay, so there's the function. The only thing we have left to calculate is that value for K. And almost, I don't know, I'd say 60% of you just decided that that must be 4,000 because that was the initial condition. And the problem is, when you plug in 0 for this function, this isn't 0. Had this been a polynomial with an x in each term, yes, then the 4,000 would have fit right in here. But let's go back and recover this K. And this is one that's been on the final exam as far back as I can remember. So a question like this, where you're given some initial condition and you're given a function that's not equal to 0. Okay. So here's what we know. When I plug in 0 for x, I get 4,000 back. So 4,000 is equal to 84. Oops, this was negative. Yeah, negative 84,000 e to the negative 0.015 times 0 plus k. So I took my function here, plugged in 0 for x and set it equal to 4,000. Well, e to the 0 is not 0. E to the 0 is equal to 1. So I have negative 84,000 here plus k is 4,000. If I add 84,000 to both sides, this is 88,000. So my function is and when you step back at this and look, remember there's two things that had to happen. The derivative had to be the function we started with. And when you plug in 0, you must get 4,000 back. If you plug in 0 now for x, this becomes 1. Negative 84,000 plus 88,000 is 4,000. So when you have one of these problems, whether it's initial condition or any other value, here's the things you want to do. Take the derivative of it, make sure that that ends up with the function you started with, and it will. Okay, it'll be 1260 e to the negative 0.5x. And then plug in this number for x and make sure you get this value back. Plugging in 0 for x makes that 1. Negative 84,000 plus 88,000 is that 4,000 that we had from before. So the number at the end isn't automatically that number. Really, that was about the only one where I was sort of disappointed in the results. I went over this several times. We had many examples of this exact thing on the activities, and I know there's an example like that on the review packet as well. Right? So beyond that, I thought the test went really, really well. Any questions at all? If not, I'll look forward to talking to you all tomorrow for our last class. That activity is one of the shorter ones. I'm hoping, since there's no quiz at the end of the day, I'm hoping we'll get through that in 45 minutes or so, and prepare ahead a little bit, start looking at the review packet. Maybe there'll be some early questions or some late questions on the review packet you'll like to see done as well. Anything at all? If not, I'm gonna go spend a few minutes in my yard. Gorgeous day here in Kent. Any last minute questions? Okay, if something pops up, send me an email. I'll be on and off email probably till around 7 tonight. I still have a little homework to grade. See ya.